What is going on, guys? Welcome back. So today I want to talk about anxiety setbacks. Okay, this is a big issue. This is something that we try to avoid at all costs whenever things have been going better for us. If we've made a lot of progress, we really don't want to mess that up. But I'm here to tell you right now that that mindset will keep you from getting to 100% one day. You have to eventually allow yourself to have that cup of coffee. You have to eventually allow yourself to, make that trip, or to not avoid this situation, to see if you're actually there. And the only way that you're going to get through that is by exposing yourself to those things. But we hinder our exposure, we limit it. We get really conservative with it because we want to protect what we have. And I get it and I understand that. But I think it's more importantly, an importance, to change our perspective of setbacks. Okay, I think there's two different kinds of setbacks, right? There's the one that I just mentioned where, you pushed it in exposure. Maybe you went a little further than usual and then your symptoms came up, or maybe you had an anxiety or a panic attack, or you just wanted to have a cup of coffee. You haven't had one in a few months, and it's like there should be nothing wrong with a cup of coffee. Or hell, I'd even say maybe once a month you and your friends would go out and have a couple drinks with dinner, and you want to be able to do that. I don't think there's anything horribly wrong with that at all. Or maybe you want to treat yourself to a burger and fries or a dessert sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that we should be able to treat ourselves to every once in a while, and we will avoid this and avoid this and avoid the same thing with going places or going to visit somewhere or getting on a plane, even though you used to love to travel, or getting on a roller coaster. I had to go through all these trials to see where I was during my recovery. Getting back on a roller coaster was a big one. Stop avoiding, okay? You're not fooling your subconscious. You're not going to fully be ready for that experience, okay? But you are equipped. Things have been going good for a while for a good reason. It's not just because you've been avoiding a couple little things, but you've been able to kind of keep your anxiety at bay. I mean, to be able to do that and to manage your anxiety, just being at the house is great, because you know how bad it gets, right? Where even in our safe zones, we're miserable and we're panicking. We're having all these symptoms. So congratulations, for at least being able to get some moments where your symptoms or your anxiety isn't horribly bad. So you are capable, okay? So there's that type of setback that, whenever you're trying to push an exposure, try something that you want to be able to do, whether that's something healthy or something you used to enjoy, and you're avoiding it, right? Because you don't want the symptoms to come up, but you try it and say, like, anxiety kind of gets ruffled up a little bit, right? So there's that one. Then there's just a setback of everything's been going good for a few months and you randomly have a panic attack, or you randomly have anxiety symptoms, or a new symptom pops up, right? And in that situation, I would say, it happens. Sometimes your subconscious will just be like, hey, you thought you were getting better, which you are getting better. Nobody can take away the awareness and the growth in the past 3 months or 6 months that you've had, right? You've obviously learned a lot, and obviously, just like the other example, you've gotten it to a place to where you can manage and keep your anxiety down, which is amazing, which means you are, again, capable. In this situation, you want to try to take something valuable from it. If you can take something valuable from a setback, right? It's not really a setback. Say you were anxious in the car driving, but, that morning, like, you either got way away from your routine, or let's say, like, lately, you've been hanging around a lot of toxic people, or yesterday you kind of slipped up and got on Google whenever you felt something, and then you started to think about that again, and you panicked, or whatever it is. Maybe there's something in your daily lifestyle or routine or your environment that's kind of going wrong. Maybe you've gotten away from some of the principles that helped you get into a good place. Pick up on that and learn from your mistakes. And if you can learn from it, then the setback is all of a sudden a learning experience, a valuable one. Right? And then we want to make sure that we don't do the same thing in the future. So those are the two different ones. The exposure one, where you're trying to push it or trying to enjoy something and you avoid it. And honestly, guys, the longer that you avoid it, the more anticipatory anxiety there's going to be with it. I understand in the beginning when you're trying to get out of a really dark place, but don't have a good month and you want to have a good 6 months before you have you know what I mean? You're never going to be fully ready. okay? So you might as well kind of slowly do what you're wanting to do without being so conservative that you literally just get away from all exposure to those last few things, right? Because I get it, like we don't want to chance anything, and we don't want to go back to that horrible place where we were. But here's another thing with all that, okay? And with either of these setbacks, right? If you handle it well the first day, you first identify something that you can learn from it, or you just respond the way that you've been responding in the past to get to where you're at, it doesn't have to turn into a bad week or a bad 3 months, because this is how it goes. Like, we'll be doing good for a while. Maybe anxiety comes out of nowhere, or we have the exposure one or whatever, that example that I used. And then we get so disheartened and so discouraged, almost like a disbelief, like, man, I can't believe I'm back here, right? And think about that's a lot of negativity. And then, of course, then we're not going to be motivated to respond the right way. We're not going to be motivated to maybe, get some of this nervous energy out via like a workout, or to go for a walk, or maybe we're not going to stick to our mindfulness, or maybe we don't journal about it or anything. And then it turns into an all-day deal. Well, if you have a really bad all-day thing, it's almost like we've kind of signed ourselves up for extra hypersensitivity for the next few days, because you flood the body with the stress hormones. The tension is so strong. You freaked out the subconscious just over and over and over again. And then that can turn into 2 or 3 days. And then guess what? If you continue to freak out every single day, then that'll turn into a week. And then how this thing can just spread, right? And now we've been back in anxiety for 3 months. It's all about that first day whenever you have a setback. So remember, if you can get something out of it, if you can find a little gold nugget or find something valuable, it's a good thing. And then we learn from it. You have to learn something from each one of these cycles of symptoms. I was very stubborn and hard-headed. So I didn't start doing things the right way until I'd already been suffering for about 4 years. I did learn things, but there still were some things like Googling, or just really responding in fear the first few days that I would have symptoms, and then that would turn into a couple months. So it really is about that first day. Get away from all the old behaviors that you've exhibited, like the Googling, the checking, the fearful responses, the constant reassurance. Do all the right things the first day. And even if you do feel anxious, hell, even if you do have an anxiety attack or panic attack, there is a possibility that it doesn't continue. Build yourself up. Be a cheerleader for yourself. Show a lot of self-love, right? And it's so easy to just feel sorry for ourselves and to be like, here we are again, or poor pitiful me, or I'm never going to get out of this, or I thought I was doing so well, what happened? I'm not trying to sound insensitive, because I did that, but it's not productive. It's not going to help. It's not going to help. And then it's just going to really lead to more symptoms, and it's going to drag it out, and then you're going to have to regroup everything. Okay? You're capable. If you've been good for a while, if you've been good for a long time, and then you have a day where your symptoms come up either from the exposure or they just randomly come up, use the tools and the things that you've learned in your past. Nobody can take those things away from you. Just don't get away from them. You know what I mean? And respond the right way, and then learn something from it. Where did I go wrong? Why was I more anxious this day? Sometimes you may not be able to find something. Sometimes some things just happen. Okay? But they can still be valuable if you respond the right way. The subconscious will pick up on that, and maybe it doesn't happen again, or maybe it's longer before it does happen again. Okay? But if you want more help, guys, with your recovery process, and if you want like a step-by-step process on how this all comes together, because a lot of things do have to come together. This is just one part of it. Setback, lifestyle changes, routines, identifying and working on root causes, response system needs to be in place, and there's just so many different things that need to come together. Be a part of my ELITE Anxiety Bootcamp. I'm going to put that down below in the description and in the first pinned comment. It's helping a lot of people out. I'm going to read you another review real quick. So about a month and a half ago, I developed GAD. It was every day I'd wake up with extreme anxiety that would last most of the day. This being new to me, I started freaking out, not knowing what to do. As I started looking things up on YouTube, I came across Trey Jones' videos. I saw that he had an ELITE Anxiety Bootcamp, so figuring it couldn't hurt, I went ahead and got the course. Let me tell you, if you want to beat anxiety, get this course. It was extremely helpful to understanding what anxiety really is and how to start the recovery process. I really don't know what I would have done without it. You can tell he really put his time and effort into this course, and if you follow all the steps that he teaches you, you will see insane results. I strongly recommend this course to anyone that suffers from anxiety, especially if you want to overcome it. Thanks again, Trey. So guys, I've been reading the reviews. Check that out. It's down there. Also, a great thing about it, it's very, very affordable. It's not like some of these other extremely expensive programs. But don't let that fool you. There's tons of value packed in there. It's very extensive. It's also going to be probably one of the most extensive courses you've ever seen. Close to 100 extra videos, taking you through that whole process, plus a bunch of downloadables. So check that out. If you're interested in coaching, I have an email down below that you can reach out to me to ask for the coaching information. I'll send that over to you. I have social media stuff down there. Please subscribe if you're new. Tons of videos like this. Please like this video if you got value. And until next time, guys, keep fighting. I'm going to go inside. It's been bitterly cold here in Texas for the past couple days, so I'm going to get back inside. But I love you guys. Talk to you soon.